Hello folks, was hoping to bore you today with a video about the MG inverter reverse engineering. Sadly, however, Irish Customs or Customs decided to get their hands on my JLC PCB order a few days ago, so they're doing their dancing in a circle, sacrificing chickens or whatever it is that they need to do before releasing the goods. But the good news is for you that video is only postponed, not cancelled, so prepare for that piece of boredom. But today we have a special treat in store for you. What's more boring than a whole bunch of weird obscure electronics? Well, a rectangular box. Let's go have a look at it. So here it is. It's a box and is now currently bolted in on both sides by 4 10mm bolts, and you won't be able to see any of that thanks to my top spec lighting. Let's see if we can do a little better. Bracket there, welded to the strut tower, and bracket here from the original pack. We've got our going to be finished welding that and painting it and all that stuff, but it's just held in place for now. I've gone with some weld-in nuts on the inside of the box here, so we won't have to get into the box to do any kind of bolting in. So, been looking then at how we're going to get our battery modules and our BMW S box in here. And the reason I kind of left the box in the vehicle at the minute is that I want to be able to work out where I'm going to put external connectors and disconnects and things like that before I take the box back out to do a full assemble here outside the vehicle. So here in the box, you'll see I've been installing my first kind of interior shelf. This one's made from some 6mm aluminium, and just been tacking in some of the framework for that. As you see, I have a Gregon 50 there holding up this particular one, because I'm not going to weld this in yet until I have the box out. So basically what we're going to be looking to do, put 3 modules in here under the shelf, and then another 3 modules on top of the shelf. So what are these modules I hear you speaking of, Damien? Well, they're in this thing, which, as the keen-eyed amongst you, and regular viewers, all 2 of you, will recall, is our Jaguar Land Rover plug-in hybrid 14.7 kilowatt-hour battery that we're going to be employing for our Red Arrow rebuild. Now, this particular specimen is in pretty good shape and has a total of 9 of these modules. Now you can only see 6 of them here. There's another 3 underneath this. So I wanted to show you the original pack layout before we tear into taking this guy apart. Now, we actually end up with quite a lot of useful bits in here that I'm hoping we'll be able to reuse, not least of which is this nice big Tyco disconnect, which we'll be able to mount on our new battery box. Again, this is one of the reasons why I've left the box in the vehicle at the minute, is so I'll be able to see where I can put things like this and so on. Now, what we've got here are these Samsung SDI modules, which for those of us of a particular vintage can and only really can mean Strategic Defense Initiative. So these are my Star Wars batteries. So I'm going to be basically hopefully getting all 9 of these modules into our battery box. And these guys are going to be 108S battery for, I think, something like 420 volts, I believe, fully charged. So this will be the first 108 battery that we're going to be using in a project as well. So I'm going to tear into this a little bit. One of the most interesting things for me about this battery is that it has a distributed BMS system in it. So what that means is each battery has its own BMS board and communicates back to a master by means of some serial communication protocol. So I'm going to take out some of this stuff, take off some of the bus bars, and we'll get in here, have a bit of a look around and see what kind of form the master module takes, and dig into that and see if we can identify some of the devices in there that will hopefully then allow us to be able to communicate with the BMS in these modules. But in the meantime, I'm going to take a few of them out, and I'll then be able to use them as for kind of positioning and so on in the box there, so we can see how things are going to work out for us. So before I start any working on the battery here or dismantling, you see I've got a multimeter here. I'm going to do a few voltage checks here, just to make sure we understand how the bus bars are rigged up and that. Now you'll see, bare hands, but I do have a wedding ring, so I'm going to take that off, put it in my toolbox, because we don't want anything on our hands like rings, watches, jewelry, anything metallic. Something like that gets across one of those nice low voltage and perfectly safe batteries, it's going to cut your finger off, and it's kind of neat because it'll cauterize it too, like, so you won't bleed out. But obviously, 10 fingers are better than 9. Now we've got rid of that, let's go have a look at multimeter. Let's see what our pack voltage is. When you're using a multimeter on a high voltage battery, this is when you're at your most dangerous, because most folks are going to do pretty much this, right? Like we've always used a multimeter. Is going to take a probe in each hand, we're going to stick it in somewhere, and that's perfectly fine. As you see, I'm reading 42 volts on this particular module. In fact, all the modules are at 42 volts, I checked earlier. But why is this the most dangerous time? Well, because 42 volts isn't too bad, but if we want to measure the entire pack, let's say we have a point here down around the contactor box where the two ends of the pack come together. What you don't want to do is, if we just pretend this is it, is do this, okay? Because now you're potentially putting yourself across a high voltage DC source. So let's not do that. Let's find a way so that we've only got one hand in play here. So if we look here, this point is the most negative. We can trace this bus bar back down here. It goes straight down into the contactor box. And then the most positive comes up and goes into this disconnect. So we just stick probe into the other end of the disconnect. Then I can take the other end, stick it in here. We get 377.6 volts. So why am I making a big deal about that? Well, this battery is not earthed to the earth that we're currently sitting on anywhere. So, for example, if I was to do something incredibly dumb, like say, take a metal probe, stick it into the battery negative here, with my bare hand on it, I'm not going to get a shock. Okay? In fact, I can do this anywhere on the battery with one hand. I can touch any terminal that I please with one hand, and I'm not going to get a shock. However, it becomes quite dangerous if, for example, let's say I was measuring something down here and then I'm going around probing here, and there's any possibility that that then comes into contact with both of my hands. So don't do that. Only use one hand. Like I said, I see a lot of stuff going around about this, and I don't say much about it because it's one of those things. It's a bit like religion and politics. No matter what you say, it's going to be wrong. Here I am touching another high voltage terminal. Here I am touching another high voltage terminal. I'm not dying. There's my finger. Let's make it wet. There we go. Not dying. Okay. So that'll probably get me some clicks anyway. So what I'm going to do now, after we've established that our pack is good, the next thing to make this more safe to work on is I'm going to go ahead and remove at least one, if not in fact all of the jumper links here, so that we break it up into much lower voltage segments. And then we can take this guy out and hopefully get in here and have a look at our BMS main controller. When I started my illustrious career in the electronics industry, ESD damage of certain components was all the rage. ESD stands for electrostatic discharge. Certain types of electronic components are quite susceptible to static electricity damaging them. And it was being blamed for all manner of things, from random failures and components not working the way they should, or the way they were you thought they would, all the way to things like bad weather and so forth. But don't worry though, because the industry had a solution for you. And that's the wrong bit. Good man, Damien. The industry had a solution for you. All you had to do was spend a lot of money on all of these ESD protection things, and you wouldn't have that problem anymore. So I remember when I was looking at this particular circuit anyway, and I kind of couldn't figure out what was going on with it. So I asked my boss at the time, I said, you know, do you think this would be related to ESD? And he said to me, the only thing that is related to ESD, he said, are people making a lot of money out of it. And that stuck with me. I remember, wow, gouged that head of that bolt, Damien. Gouged. Let's try gouging this one. Wow, even managed to gouge it a bit. So much for Milwaukee bits. Yeah, that's all right. Let's see if we can get another one out. So yeah, a lot of folks making a lot of money out of the ESD game. And if I'm honest, wow, yeah, that one really rounded out nicely. So that's going to be fun. I have to take this module out to get at that. But yeah, a lot of folks made a lot of money and are still making a lot of money out of ESD. And I see a not dissimilar trend. Let's take a slightly larger one. Maybe that's what it is. A slightly similar trend here with the electric vehicle game. Oh yeah, that bit's actually damaged. Yay, great. I see similar trends here with the electric vehicle game, particularly when it comes to high voltage safety gear. I think it's one of those things that, oh yeah, this will have one of these clips on the bottom of it now so you can't take it out. It's actually quite good. A lot of these OEM bus barring systems are very good that way. There we go. Oh yes, that one came out all right. Nice. So hopefully we're going to be able to reuse these guys, which would be nice. So anyway, I won't regale you with any more of my historical stories. I'll go ahead, take out a couple more of these. Actually, I might take all of them off. Yeah, I will. I'll take off all of these links here. Take off all of these links. There we go. And we'll come back once we're in a good place here to see what's in underneath this guy. Well, the strip down continues. Unfortunately, looks as if in order to get this guy out of here so we can get into this BMS master, we've got to take all these modules out here, because this one obviously connects down below to the most positive, and I don't think I can get in here to get to any kind of a fastener on the back of this bus bar. I can see the fastener in there, but it's facing downwards. So I think I'm going to have to take these out and release the bus bar from the module underneath it, so we can then take this guy out, get into the BMS master. But I've freed off the harness here. It's pretty straightforward by the looks of it. So fingers crossed. Yeah, we can just unplug these connectors here, keep this harness intact, hopefully. When we reassemble everything then back into the back in our new battery enclosure. So that one off here. There we go. Alright, so at this point, should be able to lay that back here. Just cutting any of these kind of cable tie things that are going around there. There's another end of the harness goes down into the battery. So I'm going to whip out these fasteners here. There's 4 fasteners on each battery. We'll whip those out, see if we can lift this guy up and see what's going on underneath. Wonder, is that the same size? Yeah, looks good. Alright, now I've got myself a bag of bolts. I'm going to close those up, get them out of our way. I'm going to try and lift up this module here, which still has the bus bar with the dodgy connector on it, and it's not moving. So most likely there could be a little dowel type of a thing down here, or we could be looking at some thermal compound on the bottom and going on to the cooling plate. I'm going to grab something here to give myself a little bit of leverage. Alright, let's try a pry bar. What could go wrong? Folks, never underestimate the power of the flat blade screwdriver to break things loose. Yeah, there it is. I was right. There is some kind of thermal compound. Oh, they're actually thermal pads. Now that's really neat, because I like that. So we are going to get some more bags. we're going to save these here thermal pads. Alright, the prizing continues. And the cheese slices that we have to take out from underneath them. They seriously stick down. There we are. Alright. Yeah, so these things are very like that kind of ultra processed sliced cheese we all know and love, except this is green, but that's okay. I'm going to save these guys. Alright, go ahead and bag up the cheese, and we'll go ahead and get the rest of these off the top and see what awaits us down below. This turned into a bit of a saga, folks. Alright, got the 6 modules off the top, we got the cheese out. Now we've these coolant tube things. So obviously what I want to do is going to be to cautiously disconnect all these. There is some kind of quick connecty type thing on these, but as with all of them, the last thing it will actually do is quick disconnect. I mean, I'm sure they quick connect, but when it comes to quick disconnecting, that's where most of these lovely plasticated things that we get foisted upon us today tend to end up. Oh my god, there's even more things. I do like these heat sinks though, I have to say. They're pretty darn cool. Things that make you go oh yeah, there's definitely water in that. Yeah, and this is the part I was worrying about. This has been made by the old Strategic Defence Initiative as well, so yeah, it looks like we've got to thank President Reagan for a lot of stuff here, including these new cells. I'd be super hoping to not have to disconnect any of this while we still have modules in here. I don't particularly mind after the event. So let me see what happens if I can get some of these fasteners out of here without having to disconnect any of these thingies. Here comes more of them. Again, I'd encourage folks to always keep the fasteners out of these packs because they're usually stainless steel and pretty good quality. So well worth, even if you're not going to use them on this project, throw them in your spares box. Because who knows what might be needed next. Come here. Really? More of them? Oh boy. I am having a bad feeling about this mission though, because I think that these modules underneath might well be bolted at the back of this plate, and we might end up and to lift this plate out with the 3 modules on the back of it. So I don't know. Depends what the old SDI folks were thinking at the time. Whether they were thinking serviceability, whether they were thinking we need to stop some ballistic missiles. don't. Yeah. Like I say, they're never usually short with the number of fasteners that they put into these things either. So you can take this, folks, as the unprofessional's guide to, oh, hello, the unprofessional's guide to disassembling a battery. Hang on, something's coming out. Oh yeah, hang on. Oh, okay, we're out. Oh, that's good. Wow. Okay, good news. The 3 modules down here, they're not actually on this plate, they're on their own plate. Oh no, there's another fastener I missed. Yay. Okay, got him. Okay, progress. Oh, come on. More SDI stuff. Oh yeah, there they are. Don't know if you can see them in there, but we've got 3 more modules. Oh folks, that's it. That's all the modules and the bits that we need stripped out of this pack. I'm going to go ahead and get this frame out of the way, and then we'll come back and see what we got to do next. Alrighty folks, so that is our 3 modules from the bottom and our controller. I'll take that controller apart on the bench and we'll see what makes that tick. But at least now we've got our battery stripped down and we can start looking at how we're going to re-establish it in the new battery box. And the good news is green cheese is still viable. We like that. So that's a negative on this side. Gotta have positive, balance them out. And once we get him out there, yeah, that's good. Cheese also gives a really nice grip on the aluminium plate. This is our 12 mil. This is our 12 mil kind of one that will be holding the modules vertically. So this one's going to be one of the toughest jobs that I'm doing here. So I figured, you know, something goes wrong, this will be the time to get the clicks on it. Because what we've got to do is get our, oh yeah, up, that's it. Like that. Now bring you folks around the far side here and to see what we have going on. So in this case, the 1 module on its own on the top layer and 2 on the bottom. So this is what we got now. So what I've got to do, get myself some more green cheese. Just get a nice slice here now. Fortunately, the last ones to come off yesterday from the bottom of the pack were kind of the worst ones to come off for whatever reason. But yeah, we'll be okay. Hopefully survive it. Now, let me see. So that's going to be, that's the front of the pack there. On your left is the rear. If that makes sense, be facing the rear of the vehicle. And let me get down here and make this a little bit easier. This part here facing front of the vehicle. This piece of cheese is not going terribly nicely, but I still think it's going to work out for me. Put it on in 2 pieces. Maybe more than 2 pieces. This right. Alright. Yeah, this piece of cheese is, because I'm on camera, obviously, this piece of cheese is going to fail. But we'll get it on. Then can get our module slid in on these pieces of N6 threaded rod and bolt it up. And this will be carrying 3 modules, this one here, and the other ones will be in their normal horizontal orientation, whereas these ones will be on their long sides, as you can hopefully see here. Hopefully this makes sense. I don't know. I don't even make sense to myself these days, so don't see how I can make sense to the rest of the world. But anyway, we'll give it a shot. There. As soon as you know, if you know the other one was a lot easier than that. But anyway, we got some cheese on there. As the old saying goes, some cheese is better than none. Now, this is going to be the rear. That one's there. It's there from coming in here. I have a, what do I have down the bottom here? Negative. I'm going to have to go forward to see it. Of course I will. Positive. So I need a negative. Need a negative here now. Need a negative. That's a negative. Good buddy. How I'm going to lift this afterwards, and that's going to be a challenge. Anyway. Oh yeah, look at that. Look at that. Almost professional. Almost professional. Not really, but almost professional. There we are. Of course I've cut them way too long, but I'd rather have these guys too long because we can buzz them off quite merrily. So we'll go and get some nuts on here now. And then this will sandwich the plate between the lower 2 modules here. And then we've got the guy on his lonesome up here then. So, not bad. And a few more washers. Hopefully. Probably even be able to use a bolt cutter on that because it's just M6, so there need to be no sparks or out grinder dust or hacksaw detritus, which we don't want around our battery modules. We do not want that around our battery modules. This is the way, unfortunately, that we have to go with kind of reconfiguring these packs to do what we need them to do rather than the original packaging. This is often, there we go. Alright, let's run these guys down and we should be all set. So, unfortunately, I think I have gone a bit native with the I've gone a bit native with this, unfortunately. Oops. Went a little bit slightly too long on these, didn't I? Yeah, just ever so slightly too long. So to spec. Embarrass myself on camera with my meager strength now. Oh! Bullseye. Oh! Make sure that. There we go. This is the part where I'm probably going to hurt myself. So I figure let's catch it on camera. Prepare for pain. No pain, no batteries then. Sure the Strategic Defence Initiative would agree with that. Let's see, can I lift 3 modules? Oh, all by myself. 3 modules hanging on a plate. 3 modules hanging on a plate. And if all 3 modules should accidentally short, there'll be no more Damien hanging on the plate. Oh God! Oh, fingers! Ah! Oh my God, it worked! Oh my God! My God, it's full of cells. Okay, it worked. God darn it. Okay. We're still here, folks. Hang on a second now. I need to get a Greg, I'm going to say probably a Greg 20. I'm going to get a Greg 20 here. Actually, let's make it 2 Greg 20s. Because we're probably going to want to put a Greg 20. Yeah, I'm going to put a Greg 20 on this side. Come on, Greg, there you go, buddy. There you go. Come on, Greg 20. Oh, really, Greg 20, thank you. Okay, so that should roughly keep us in approximately the position to which we have become accustomed through our life. So that's where this plate is going to ultimately live. Now the eagle-eyed amongst you might have noticed, I don't know if you can see it on my crappy video, no of course you can't, might be able to see it now, that I did hollow out the corners here so we can bring our cables and such around here. SDI BS, wow, okay, I won't comment on that. So, this is the bottom plate, some I believe 3mm aluminium or aluminum for the Gregs of the world. Now the question is, can I just said aluminum or whatever, however we wish to define it, in here? I'm going to have to move. Oh wow, look at that, automatic. It's automatically installed. It's that keen to get in there, folks, that it basically threw itself in. Right, so see now if we can actually orient you in the correct location. Now we have 3 modules in here. I'm only going to put in 2 because I got to use a Greg 120 here because I don't have the box section welded in on this side yet. I wanted to get everything in here and see where we stood first of all. So, right, you're just going to have to pretend that it's not, you're going to have to pretend that it's 3 and not 2. So there's 1 in position like that. Obviously they'll bolt through the aluminium, through the stainless, and it'll be bolted in. We'll have, what do they call them? These things, the weld-in nuts on the bottom of the thingy. Positive. That's a negative, good buddy. Now, you're going to have to pretend that I have another one in here. Where's my Greg 120? Here he is. See, Greg 120. So you put the Greg 120 in here and put a bit of box in. Will ultimately be welded in here, just sitting on that. So obviously that won't be here. This will be here. There'll be another module here. So we'll have 3 on this. Let's call it the vertical stack. 3 going across here on the bottom. Then we have some 6mm aluminium. Now, before the internet, oh my God, the Greg fell over. Oh, Greg, stop it. Crazy fool. Ain't getting on no plane. Obviously, we'll have another bit of this stainless across here to give us some extra support. Otherwise, this plate would start to bow selector one. Now, no more falling over, Greg. Ah, there you go. That's better. Right. So this is going to give us another layer. Then we can take another. Take another 3 modules, and I can actually install the 3 modules here. 1, 2, oh, there's another one over there. Yeah, okay, it's gonna be 2. Here's coming over like something like that. And then we get number 3. Well, folks, that was fun. My phone ran out of storage space, so I went to delete some files on it. It then informed me that it couldn't delete those files because it had ran out of storage space. Yeah. So, while we're on the subject here, this is our BMS Master, also by the Strategic Defence Initiative. So I cracked this guy open and got out our printed circuit board. Now this is the usual conglomeration of the ubiquitous Infineon tri-core processor, lots of other components, both sides of the board, of course. But part that we're interested in is this little section here, because this is where we communicate with the BMS modules that are on our batteries. If we flip over, we see a little chip here that is kind of, it looks to be kind of straddling this plane here. I don't know if it's going to be able to see this really, but anyway, this is the chip that performs the communication between the normal kind of digital logic on the BMS board, the master board, and the communication bus that's used here. For those playing along at home, this is a Max 17841 component, and it's basically another kind of this ISO SPI stuff, daisy chain BMS communication. But the good news is, unlike the Model 3 Batman chip, you can buy these from Mauser. You can get a data sheet for them. It's got all the communication protocol in there. So I've ordered a few of those guys and some of those little transformers there. And we'll go ahead and design a little, probably add this to the Model 3 BMS board. It'd be the easiest thing to do. And then we'll have our own BMS master that will communicate with these boards here. So, with that said, that's where I'm going to leave you folks today. Oh, I do have a lid for this box, by the way, so I might as well put a lid on it, as they say. I did have to cut this one down a bit as well, but it does fit quite nicely. Oh, it still does. Okay. So, folks, that is it. That is going to be our battery. for our red Arrow rebuild. 108S, 14.7 kilowatt hours according to the label. We'll see what we can get out of it. So, as always, don't forget to give this one a thumbs down. Do check the links in the description, but avoid the Patreon and the PayPal ones because you don't want to support me doing this, do you? No. So, I better get on with it anyway. So, until next time then, I'm going to have to say it again, folks, because it is a bad one. Happy stainless steel drilling. Ugh.